night, the president spent 15 minutes this evening using the podium of the White House to undermine the integrity of our election. His behavior was outrageous, and by today, I think you're going to see Joe Biden take the lead in Pennsylvania fairly strongly, and it'll be clear that he'll then have the votes. And we should continue the process. This council has said we need to count every vote. I'm pleased to see Mitt Romney, a good friend of mine, and Marco Rubio out there talking about it. You also had members overnight like Adam Kinzinger, who's a member of the military also, as well as a member of Congress, Denver Riggleman from here in Virginia. And I know there have been dozens of others who have been out there, and I think you're going to hear a lot more today. The president needs to understand that we need to count every vote and finish this process. But let's look at this. While the president did lose, I think you have an electorate that said, you know what, in policies, we are a centrist country. Mm-hmm. That's why Republicans won the Senate. They won state houses, which nobody expected. It looks like we may have 209 House members. Republicans are rejected. That's nowhere near what people expected. Mm-hmm. But they said, we don't like the president. We don't like the way he behaves and what he does. And this is a perfect example of that. So I think you will see more people stepping up today, and rightly so.
All right, we'll see. Barbara Comstock, Mike Muse, thank you both. And that does it for this ABC News Live election update. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back here live at 9 a.m. Eastern with the latest news, context, and analysis. Stay safe.
It's Friday, November 6th, and Joe Biden is building a wall of his own. We start here. It's not inevitable.
Campaigns are kind of doing some mathematical jujitsu.
In several states now, the president's up by a little with a lot of ballots left to be counted.
Many people are suspecting enough votes out there for Joe Biden to take the lead.
There are 3 states to keep your eye on this morning. We've got a reporter in each of them. Meanwhile,
if you count the legal votes, I easily win.
President Trump has started openly telling supporters about vague conspiracy theories with no evidence.
Donald Trump may concede that the election was stolen from him.
GOP lawmakers have supported him for 4 years. What will they do now with an election on the line? From ABC News, this is Start Here. I'm Brad Milkey. As we get further from Election Day, it's worth reminding ourselves that as much as this feels like we're watching a game where the score is changing in real time, as we get further that from game has already happened. It's worth reminding ourselves that as much as this feels like we're watching a game well beforehand, what we're learning now, hour by hour, is what that we're watching it on DVR. People voted on Tuesday, and they voted well taken place. The team you want to win is in the lead, and someone says, hey, pause the game. Don't watch any further. Would you think that was good news? Would you think your team was about to win or lose?
We are expecting his lead shrinking in the all-important state of Pennsylvania. He needs...
You look around the country this morning, and you and Trump could still win this thing.
This graphic right here was the toughest thing they've had to do so far because we put this together just a few minutes ago, and the numbers are changing so fast.
The numbers are going to keep changing. Optimistic that Biden is going to catch Trump.
Places many people are going to remember from the first debate when the president said bad things happen in Philadelphia, and it's really ended up being kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy for the president because bad things are happening to him with regard to the vote tally at this point in Philadelphia County. Vice President Biden is up by 80%, and this is really...
And when you look at the simple math of it all, that seems to be pointing in that direction, and everyone is sort of kind of prepared for that to happen. It's just a matter of when the votes are actually counted. You have to count the votes to get there.
And Whit Johnson, any comeback for President Trump would clearly involve him making a comeback in Arizona, like right now.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have seen this slow rolling comeback from Donald Trump. Is it going to be enough? We just don't know yet.
The race in Arizona is getting closer and closer every day, just like we're telling you right now.
And both campaigns are kind of doing some mathematical jujitsu to see if there is a path forward, if he can in fact do it. But at the same time, this is a real example of the reason and need to count every single ballot. And I can tell you that some of the messaging coming from President Trump and the White House has left some here in Arizona scratching their heads, including those in the Republican Party.
We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list.
Count our votes, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Because on the one hand, President Trump tweeted, "Stop the count." On the other, you have people here in Arizona literally trying to make sure every single ballot is counted. Right. And all of those ballots are keeping him alive in this race right now.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about how President Trump and his supporters have handled this. We've seen people outside these vote centers claiming that these votes somehow aren't valid, but I mean, what specific issues are they pointing to?
We haven't had broad, sweeping controversies here in Arizona, but we have had a few isolated things that have really triggered some outrage here in Maricopa County.
We're not here for conspiracy. We're here for a fair and honest election. We're here.
There is this incident revolving around Sharpies being used to mark ballots.
I talked with 5 different supporters. Some of them think the use of Sharpies on ballots may have skewed the count here in Arizona.
There is actually a lawsuit that has been filed. There's been a court hearing already about it because some people made the claim that they were told to mark their ballots with Sharpies, and then they worried that their ballots were going to be thrown in the trash.
We love Trump. I love liberty.
So we saw some protests outside the county recorder's office, mostly Trump supporters, dozens of them. Some of them were actually armed.
President Trump won by a landslide. He's not being given what he's worked for, what we've all voted for.
And they were trying to get inside the recorder's office to take a look at the ballot counting. Now, the county and the Secretary of State has been trying to reassure everybody that even if a Sharpie is used on the ballot, it still works.
The new machines are actually made to accept the ballots with Sharpie ink on them.
That said, I think there's just a general sense of anxiety on all sides. The Secretary of State is pleading with people to just be patient. In fact, they set up fences around the county recorder's office and blocked it off and called it a free speech zone to try to encourage people to protest peacefully in a safe area.
Yeah, that's the thing, Eva. Like, the reason that this is taking longer in places like Pennsylvania is that state legislature, the Republican legislature, decided not to allow mail ballots to get counted early, like they are in Florida. But you've been able to see this counting process now up close with your own eyes. It is literally the same as these other states were doing.
We can all see the process if you want. The Philadelphia County is actually live streaming, as well as a couple of other counties, but they walked me through the process. So they take